Babies can't deal with a lot of smoke. They have to have fresh air. These babies, they did get all that smoke, and it started to really affect them. They started having a lot of babies die. They had a very large infancy mortality. All they had for windows were here on the right, just rectangular cutouts with wooden slats. I kept the big animals out, but it didn't keep the raccoons out. You might wake up and have a raccoon sharing breakfast with you. But the British, they brought the idea of chimneys and helped the Spanish install them. That way they could get the smoke out of their house, have a more productive life. St. George Street and I Colonel stop 7. If you'd like to get off here, back down to the left. Use the uprights and the handhold to keep you safe. Those of you waiting, please climb aboard, and welcome to the Old Town Trolley. Thank you for your attention, Fred. Take your time. Very cool. Thank you. Now this is... Have you come along? Oh, really? Did you make that up now? Wow. That's some good grocery visiting. That's how they do it in the islands. They go and enjoy each other's time, and they enjoy life together. Now we're headed toward the Menorcan quarter. Menorcans came from the little island of Menorca. If you're looking at a map, you see Spain on the left. Look just to the right of Spain, you see a little island called Menorca. Well, the plantation owners back in the 1700s, back in Andrew Turnbull day, they would go out and they'd pick these Menorcans up off the island, bring them over here to work on plantations. Everything was going fine and dandy until a bad disease broke out. Oh, it was bad. It was yellow fever, dysentery. They actually had lots of people starting to pass away. The Spanish, well, they just up and what? They went back to Spain. They didn't want to deal with that here. Well, they left the Menorcans behind. Now, these Menorcans didn't know how to fend for themselves, if you will, in America. They weren't from America. They were slowly starting to starve to death. Thankfully, there was a preacher here in St. Augustine. His name was Father Camps. He went down south 60 miles, gathered up all these Menorcans, brought them back here where he could put them, settle them down, and he could feed them. The governor took pity on them, and then he gave them this section where we're sitting right now. That's why it is still called the Menorcan Quarter to this day. Now, we're going forward into the golden age, the gilded age, the age of vintage. This is where we run into Henry Flagler again in the gilded age. Henry Flagler, he wanted to build a resort town out of St. Augustine, but to do so, he needed a little piece of property 2 blocks south of us. But there was a little church on that property, a little wooden church called the Olivet. Well, Flagler had a friend named Franklin Smith who had just come from Europe. He learned about poured concrete. He told Henry Flagler on the right is the Grace United Methodist Church. This is the church Henry Flagler built for the preacher with a little wooden church. So you can get in there. This church on the right is the first poured concrete church in Florida, the Grace United Methodist. Now, when the Baptists saw what Mr. Flagler had built for the Methodists, oh, Johnny closed the back door. They come a running. Mr. Flagler, will you build us a church too? paying attention. That's right. You got it. The Nobel Prize is on that wall. Nobel and all. Sorry, Ted. Now on the right to the left here. This is where Mr. Flagler built his CEO and the CFO of the Flagler Railroad. He built these houses here, and he gave them to them like an incentive to keep on working. Do a good job. Well, I wish more companies would do that nowadays. Now this is where his daughter, she lived in New York. Her name was Jenny Louise. She was pregnant. She had a little girl named Marjorie. Only sad thing is Marjorie didn't live but a few hours. Sadder than that, Jenny Louise had complications with childbirth, and she passed away as well. Now Mr. Flagler lost his granddaughter and his daughter. He was devastated. He actually got all of his architect friends. He said, look, I need you to build me a church. Someplace I can have my daughter and granddaughter laid to rest. I need this church built within a year. And you know what? I don't care how much you charge me. I will pay you a king's ransom. What? A king's ransom? Whoa. If you like to get off, back down to the right. They heard that. They got 500 people together. Friend, they were working 24 hours a day. Right there. Well, friend, Henry Flagler had a friend named Thomas Edison. Yeah, the same Thomas Edison with electricity. He actually made sure his friend Henry had electricity inside of his first hotel. Thomas Edison got 2 coal-burning generators that he set up to make electricity. Those generators are now in the Smithsonian Institute. Now this hotel had electricity. The year was 1888. They had electricity here before they had it in the White House. Yeah, that's where that money talks. People walk. Well, I'll tell you what, if you or I came to stay here, this hotel would have cost us $9,000, but that would be for the full winter season, December through April. Now that is how they did it. And the only people that got to stay here for less than that were the U.S. presidents. And there were 5 presidents that came and stayed. The last president was Lyndon B. Johnson back in the 60s. Now they did not have any entertainment here. Nada. No joke. 0. None. But they had a very plush, lavish hotel made with poured concrete. Henry Flagler had already purchased the brick. He was going to build this out of brick. But then his friend Franklin Smith told him about the poured concrete. And Henry Flagler found that was much easier to deal with in building. So he built it out of the poured concrete. He had plenty of brick left over to do the beautiful ornamentation around the windows and everything. Now this brown building, the round thing, and the brown room coming off the building on the right, this is the restaurant Constellion. Now you can see the lights through those glasses. Those are Tiffany stained glass windows. Flagler had another friend. His name was Louis Comfort Tiffany. Mr. Tiffany invented the stained glass window. He put 78 Tiffany stained glass windows around that restaurant. Friends, today, those windows are insured for $130 million. Yeah, million, that's a lot of money. Those are some expensive glass. Now on the right, you see these posts. Those have the chain between them there. That is called
Sí, es el cable ahora.
It would rip the keel out of the bottom of it, making a big old hole in the bottom of that ship. The Ponce de Leon Hotel. Look on the right. All the creative design and drawing of the entrance here. This is actually Henry Flagler on the pedestal there. Even upstairs, look at the windows. They're tilted back 10 degrees so you can see the stars in the sky. Absolutely amazing. The Ponce de Leon Hotel, again, built in
Hotel.
1888. The
Hotel
first
Ponce de Leon.
hotel Henry Flagler built. And now we're going to the second place that Flagler actually built this. This was
Oh,
where
mira.
Franklin Smith built his home. The one who told Flagler about the poured concrete. He poured one layer and let it sit up a few days before he moved the form up. Then he poured the next layer. Look on the right on those joints. See the round circles? Friends, those were the forms. Every 4 feet, he had to move those up. Every time he poured a layer of concrete, he'd let it sit up a few days to dry. He'd have to move the form up, pour another layer of concrete, have to let that sit up to dry. See
Ve
what
qué
we're doing with
bonito
that?
arriba, ¿no?
He did that 20 times. That's why it looks like a wedding cake with all the layers. But Franklin Smith, he built his home. Remember, he was a world traveler. He built his home after a palace in Spain that he saw called the Alhambra. Now, this is built in 1883. And the Alhambra Palace is a couple of 100 feet long. So Franklin Smith took all of the decorations, all of the windows on each side of the building, and he put those on his different sides of his home to replicate what the palace looked to him like in his mind. That's why you have the arrow shapes, the
El
diamond
que
shapes,
hizo esto
rectangles,
viajó mucho por todo el
upside down
mundo
diamonds,
y vio
all those
muchos
weird window
castillos, entonces
shapes.
una
That's
referencia
how
de
that
cada
palace
ventana del
looked,
castillo
called the
la puso aquí
Alhambra.
en esta.
Now they actually have a mummy inside that came from the pyramid. This mummy is over 2,000 years old.
También tiene una momia dentro
Amazing.
que
Now, can I
tiene
ring my
más de
bell here? They have a meditation class next door. What I'll do is I'll give you an audible ding ding. If you'd like to get off, please back down. Use the upright. Or that was the audible. Yeah. Front of this home. Look here at the pastel, those same colors. All those, that even looks like hieroglyphics writing on top of the door there. Amazing. Coming up, it is stop number 10. This is the second hotel Henry Flagler built. It's called the Alcazar Hotel. Now, this hotel on the right was built in 1890.
Casa Monia.
Hotel on the left, 1888. On the right, where that water fountain is that's not working right there, that's where the little wooden church was that Henry Flagler built the Grace United Methodist Church for. That way, when he built this, he was able to have the whole piece of property, and he built this hotel that was full of entertainment. The first hotel he had no entertainment. The second hotel, lots of entertainment. He actually had a 24-hour casino inside here. There was a Russian day spa, a European night spa. Why, they even had a bowling alley inside. Now, this was incredible. In 1890, they even introduced the Otis elevators inside the Alcazar. Now, Alcazar in Arabic translates to Grand Palace. The Grand Palace on the left. That is Pedro Menendez on that pedestal. He is the one that discovered St. Augustine, September 8, 1565. Now, if you look back to the right, you see all the towers, all of the chimneys. That's that big, grand Ponce de Leon Hotel. If you like to get off here, back down to the left. Please use the uprights, the handholds. Please take your time backing down like you would back down a ladder. Here's the upright, the handhold to keep you safe. And thank you so much for your attention. Bingo. Okay, I and you. I want to start singing that. Look on the left. This is the beautiful. Look at the building. You don't see all those joints like you saw on Franklin Smith's home. Henry Flagler smoothed it all out with his trial. Now they had the world's largest indoor swimming pool. It's on the left here. The rounded off part coming out. This is the shallow end. That pool was 120 feet long by 50 feet wide. Oh, blow and blow. Now speaking of such, this is now the Cafe Alcazar. They've got a big cafe in there, and they've got a door on the other side of this pool where you can go in to eat. Speaking of eating, friends, if you look on the right, that purple house right here is the Bantam Chef Restaurant. They have the best shrimp and fish anywhere around. You can get a combination platter for $15.99. And I tell you what, I love to eat. And that's what I was blessed to do. I went to all the restaurants on my tour so I could show you, our guests, and let you know, because I hate going to a town and you don't know what to eat. And you eat somewhere that's like, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But I tell you the honest truth, the best seafood I've had, $15.99, it filled me up for dinner and I had enough for lunch the next day. I kid you not. Check it out. If you like seafood, you will love it. Very, very good. On the right, that big brown church. That has the windows boarded up on it. Friend, that's where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came and preached back in the 50s and 60s. This is called Lincolnville.
Martin Luther King vino a predicar
Very
acá
big
en
in the
esta
civil rights
iglesia.
era. Speaking of which, this white home on the left is the Accord Civil Rights Museum. Now, the very first black dentist had an office here, Dr. Robert Haling, the first black dentist in Florida, right here. He was good friends with Dr. Martin Luther King. There's lots of photographs inside of the two of them together. Now, this next house, this is where Mrs. Cora Tyson lives today. She's 99 years old. Just had a birthday in June. She and Dr. King were best of friends. There's a plaque on the front of the house talking about Dr. King. When he came to town, he would stay in her guest room. So when Dr. King came to town, Mrs. Tyson, she was a married school teacher. She kept Dr. Martin Luther King on the DL and heat down low. She kept him here so nobody would know, because the Ku Klux Klan, they wanted to kill Dr. King. They did not like him a bit for his civil rights, equal rights. They didn't like him. So Mrs. Tyson, she kept him in her home, in her guest room, and he came and go as he pleased. She said she cooked for him a lot, but he didn't eat much because of his schedule. What he loved to do was drink sweet iced tea. He would drink that sweet nectar of the South 3 pitchers every day, she said. And before he went to bed, that 3rd pitcher would be gone. She'd make him some more for the next day when his feet hit the floor. Now this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue right here we're crossing. Dr. King marched on this avenue back in the day. Now, all of this left and right. This was a big orange grove called Yalaha.
20 minutos.
Can you say Yalaha?
Sí.
Yalaha. There you go. That is a word in Seminole that took care of the Seminole war chief, Osceola. Now, friend, Osceola was captured under a white flag. Don't know why he was captured. They don't know why he was captured, but they captured him. Dr. Wheaton cared for it more, but again, you've got a different ambiance. And they do have the best New England clam chowder I've ever tasted. Really, really good. Here on Warefoot, big warehouse. And they have lots of ice. They used to make 100,000 pounds of ice every day. They would service all of Mr. Flagler's hotels. Now they opened about 1909 to 1920. A here, when you get back on, the tour starts right where you left it off. So that's kind of cool how that works out. Now, here at the San Sebastian Winery, oh, that's Woody there by the door. I love Woody. He's the bouncer. He is. Doesn't say a lot, but he's kind of cool. Now, if you'd like to get off here, friends, please wait. That's where the railroad tracks are now. And that's where Mr. Flagler, he owned the train station. This police station used
Ese
to be
es el Land Rover viejito.
Flagler
No,
Hospital.
o sea, una imitación de los viejos,
And
pero
Mr.
es nuevo.
Flagler, he gave his employees free health insurance. Now, if they wanted to get insurance for their families, it was only 50 cents a day. I mean, a month. At $6 a year. Hey! That was really an inexpensive insurance. Now, when you would come out to the train station, get off the railroad, Mr. Flagler would have his carriage driver. He'd have a horse and carriage. The carriage driver would have a sign with your name on it. Right? They do at airports. He would hold your name up. You'd come out, get on the carriage, he'd take you down to your hotel. Now here on the right, this is Hamblin Plaza. You've got St. Augie's Pizza. I got another deal for you, friends. If you want a pizza, go in there and get pizza by the slice, pizza by the pie, calzones, rezones, whatever you like, they got it for you. You tell them you know the preacher, that's me. You'll get 10%. They had plans to build a permanent concrete bridge going across the Intercoastal Waterway. But at the time, they only had a little wooden bridge. It was just a little two-lane
Ese lo veía
wooden
yo más
bridge.
destapado,
That was all they
pero
needed
estaba
at
más
the time.
lejos, entonces sí,
But
para
Dr. Anderson, when he saw this, he got a big 20-foot piece of marble, 20 by 20, cut it in half, and he made two lions. He had them hand sculpted two lions out of it. So he could put it on the front of the bridge when they finished the permanent bridge, and it was named the Bridge of Lions. If you look to your left, there's a horse trough, 1887, standing on it. You don't see one of those every day. Now, this is the governor's house, friends. If you go in that door right there, the restrooms are right on the left. If you ever downtown, you need to go to the restroom, it's free. You don't have to worry about signing the book. You can just go into the governor's house, take care of your business, come on back out. Believe me, preacher does it a lot. I go in there. Of course, it's kind of hard to parallel park a trolley, but on the left, that big white obelisk. Double park a trolley. That obelisk is what they call the Spanish memorial for the 1812 Constitution. In fact, this plaza, the name of it is Plaza de la Constitución.
Casa de la Constitución.
And that is how they got the name here. Now, as you look at
Mira,
the
así es en Nueva Orleans, en el...
that is the Bridge of Lions.
um,
You see the two white lions out front.
Puente de los
Those are
Leones.
the lions that Dr. Anderson had hand carved. The one on the left is named
Oh, mira,
Firm.
man, ese
The one
caballo.
on the right is named Faithful. Firm and Faithful have been watching over the Bridge of Lions since 1927. Coming
Esa
up,
bicicleta.
we have stop number 14. This is the Cathedral Basilica. This is the oldest Catholic church in Florida. It was built in 17 familiar looking cover. That is a government survey marker. It's called the Rosario Line marker. All this on the right, that was woods, swamp, alligators, and snakes. This sidewalk on the left was a 6-foot tall earth wall. And that ended St. Augustine going to the west. And now we're going to the oldest house in St. Augustine. This house was actually built in 1702. This home was actually the only house that survived the big fire that burned St. Augustine down in 1702. Reason being, it's made out of coquina, which is not flammable. On the right, this is the Trinity Parish. The third window in, Louis Comfort Tiffany. Autographed that window on the inside. This next building on the right, if you look at the door handles, you see the word Woolworths.
Yeah.
That was a big double building, Woolworths, 5 and 10 store. Now here on the right, you see this is Abilene Street here. This is the first paved road in America right here.
La primera calle pavimentada en
Abilene
América.
Street, St. Augustine, Florida.
Y la pavimentó un país.
And they've got the Spanish Military Hospital Museum up there too. Now here on the right, this big yellow building. This was the original Potter's House of Wax. This building actually was started in 1949. Some of you are old enough to remember Vincent Price. He starred in the horror thriller, The House of Wax. It was filmed right there on the right. Upstairs, they've got a rooftop restaurant where you can go have dinner and watch over the Intercoastal Waterway, where you can have a nice dinner and enjoy your view. Here on the right is O.C. White Restaurant. This was established in 1790. Over to the left is the marina. That big pirate ship there is called the Black Raven, baby. Arr! That is a pirate ship. Arr! And it does tours up and down the Intercoastal, and you can catch fish. Just have to go find out when it is going out, and you can get tickets at the marina there. Further to the left, well here, immediately to the left, you see the little seawall. That is the original seawall there.
Mira, mami, qué bonito.
That was built back in 1836. They built the bigger one out there to keep the little one safe. Now further to the left is the lighthouse. That is the second lighthouse. The first one built 1781. Well, it actually fell into the ocean. And they built it too close to the edge. The second one they built 1784.
Oh,
They
mira,
moved it 100 feet back,
estilo
and it's been there ever since.
egipcio.
Oh,
Oh no,
hey buddy.
de Morocco.
Right there. Coming up, we've got the oldest house. Again, this was built in 1702. Now this oldest house is actually built out of coquina. If you're wondering what coquina looks like, you can see it in this wall
Ahí yo
right
creo que
there.
era
It's
lo
like coquina wall here. Little tiny
Esta
seashells.
casa está hecha en esa clase de piedra
Yeah.
y se compone de pequeñas
Oldest house
conchitas.
again, built 1702. Made out of coquina. There she is upstairs. Hello there. This oldest house built out of coquina. It's got a facade on down and built. That is the plaster of Paris that makes it look white. If you'd like to get off here, back down to the right. Use the uprights, they have holes to keep you safe. In the wall right there. See it to the left of the rock. A cannonball in the wall. Now this is where I'm going to do a U-turn. Thank you. Oh, what? No, not right here. I'm just getting set up for it. Good God, she's scared to son. What are you doing? Look at this inside the window. That's the surfing museum right there. Oh, surfing history, surfboards, and awards. Tons of stuff going on. All this is part of the oldest house complex. And this is where we do the big U-turn here. Now, don't try this at home, boys and girls, unless you got a big enough driveway. I waved to our friends in the back. Hey, Yana, hello. Now, across the street, that White House, this is the Sears and Roebuck House of St. Augustine. The Sears and Roebuck had a catalog. Used to, you could buy houses in that catalog. They range from $980 to $2,500. This particular house cost $2,000. They ordered it out of the catalog. It was brought down on horses and buggies. They dropped the wood off and they had to get somebody to build it. But originally it cost $2,000, and that's what they got right here. Now, this is the of the car. Go ahead, come on. Come on. Thank you. Bless you, friend. My sign language are trying. So 2 blocks south, that's where cemetery, where the white wall is down there. That's like the National Memorial Cemetery they have in D.C. for the soldiers. They've got big rows of the white tombstones that are circular, all lined up. And that is the cemetery there for the soldiers of the area on the right. All of that is vessels here. The Bridge of Alliance ahead of us. Bridge
Es otra forma de dejarlo
Tower,
pero no
closer
sé,
to us.
todavía no sé cómo,
They can only
cómo
open
se
the
saca el
bridge twice an
permiso o
hour.
algo.
On the top of the hour or the bottom
Y
of
el
the hour
área para
only.
hacer.
The only difference, the only time other than that is an emergency. Or if there is a barge coming. You cannot steer a barge. So if the barge is coming, believe me, they will open the bridge. They don't want the
Esto
barge
tiene
trying to get
paneles
around it.
solares.
That would be good. Now that bridge was built in 1927. And again, Dr. Andrew Anderson, he had the 2 lions that were built and put on the front of the bridge. And it is beautiful. Those 2 lions again are made out of marble. And they have been on the bridge since 1927. Coming up on the right is stop number 16. And this is the marina stop. Now, if you would like to get off here at the marina, please wait till we do come to a complete stop. Between the two, there is a little street, 6 foot 1 inch wide. That is called Treasury Street right there. It goes up to the bank. The reason they made that road so narrow was if the bank ever got robbed, that street is not wide enough
Mira, man.
to carry the money chest down between 2 men. So they kept it that narrow. In doing so, it became the narrowest street in the United States. On the right, that is the inlet to the Atlantic Ocean there going out. And to the north of that, at least left, that is Anastasia Island. And that is where they got all the coquina to build the fort. 1 block of coquina. It takes 1 to 3 years to dry in the sun. There are 450,000 blocks of coquina in this fort. That's why it took 23 years to build. Now this is stop 17. If you'd like to get off here, back down. Coquina took child born was a boy. All 16 of them lived in this home with one bathroom.
Con.
Now here on the right, that's for the 1986 Denver Broncos when they won the Super Bowl in '87. However, they did not win the Super Bowl. That's why it's still in our parking lot. Yep. If you look to the left, see that light post? That tree to the left of that, that is a... See, I do that every time and forget the name of it. Not pomegranate, that's a papaya. Thank you. That's a papaya tree. Those are papaya fruit up on it.
Oh.
My question when I first saw it was, how did they get the fruit out of it? And then when I saw the papaya get ripe and a woodpecker eating it, I'm like, oh, that was, yeah, not something.
Sí.